Ismene, my own blood sister. Do you have any sense of all the troubles that Zeus keeps bringing on the two of us as long as we're alive? All that misery which stems from Oedipus. There's no suffering, no shame, no ruin, not one dishonor which I have not seen in all the troubles that you and I go through. And what's this they're saying now? Something our ruler has had proclaimed throughout the city. Have you heard of it? Do you know, or have you just missed the news? Dishonors which benefit our enemies are now being piled up on the ones we love.
I have had no word at all, Antigone. Nothing good or bad about our family. Not since we both lost our brothers. And since the Argive army just last night has gone away. I don't know if I've been lucky or faced total ruin.
I know that. That's why I brought you here outside the gate so that only you can hear.
What is it? The way you look makes it seem like you're thinking of some dark and gloomy news.
Look. What's Creon doing with our two brothers? He's honoring one with a full funeral and treating the other one disgracefully. Sophocles, they say, has had his burial according to our customary rites to win him honor with the dead below. But as for Polynices, who perished so miserably, an order has gone out throughout the city. That's what people say. He's to have no funeral or lament, but to be left unburied and unwept, a sweet treasure for birds to look at. That's what people say the noble Creon has announced to you and me. I mean to me. And now he's coming to proclaim the fact, to state it clearly for those who have not heard. For Creon, this matter is very serious. Anyone who acts against the order will be stoned to death for the city. Now you know. And you will quickly demonstrate whether you are nobly born or else a girl unworthy of her splendid ancestors.
Oh, my poor sister. But if this is what's happening, what can I say or do that will help ease this situation or resolve it?
Think whether you will work with me in this and act together.
In what work? What do you mean?
Will you help these hands take up Polynices' corpse and bury it?
What? You're going to bury Polynices when that's been made a crime for all in Thebes?
Yes. I'll do my duty for my brother, and yours as well if you're not prepared to. I won't be caught betraying him.
You're too rash. Hasn't Creon expressly banned that act?
Yes. But he's no right to keep me from what's mine.
Oh, my dear Antigone. Think. Consider how our father died. Hated and disgraced. When those mistakes his own search revealed, forced him to turn his hand against himself and stab out both of his eyes. And that woman, his mother and wife both in one, destroyed her life in the twisted noose. And then there's our two brothers, both tortured in a single day. That ill-fated pair brought about their common doom and slaughtered one another. And now it's just the two of us, left so alone. Think of the death we'll die. Far worse than all the rest if we defy the law and move against the king's decree, against his royal power. We must also remember that by birth, we're women. And as such, we shouldn't fight against men. Since those who rule are much more powerful, we must obey in this and in events that bring us even harsher agonies. So I will ask those underground for prayer, if someone compelled to do it. It makes no sense you gotta do too much.
I wouldn't urge you to. No. Not even if you were keen to act. Doing this with you would bring me no joy. So be what you want. I'll still bury him. It would be fine to die while doing that. I'll lie there with him, with a man I love, pure and innocent for all of my crime. My honors for the dead must last much longer than for those up here. I'll lie down there forever. And as for you, well, if you wish, you can show contempt for the laws the gods all hold in honor.
I'm not disrespecting them. I just can't act against the state. That's not my nature.
Let that be your excuse. I'm going now to make a burial mound for my dear brother.
Oh, my poor Antigone! I'm so afraid for you.
Don't fear for me. Set your own fate in order.
Please promise that you won't reveal to anyone what you intend. Keep it closely hidden and I'll do the same.
No. Announce the fact. If you don't let everybody know, I'll despise your silence even more.
Your heart is hot to do cold deeds.
But I know I'll please the ones I'm duty bound to please.
Yes, if you can. But you're after something which you're incapable of carrying out.
Well, when my strength is gone, then I'll give up.
A vain attempt should not be made at all.
I'll hate you if you're going to talk that way. And you will rightly earn the loathing of the dead. So leave me and my foolishness alone. We'll get through this fearful thing. But I won't suffer anything as bad as a disgraceful death.
Well, right then go. If that's what you think right. Against our lands he marched, sent here by the worn claims of Polynices, with piercing screens, an eagle flying above our lands, covered wings as white as snow, and towards the warriors in arms, helmets topped with horsehair crests.
Standing above our homes, he rings around our 7 gates with threats to swallow us and spears thirsting to kill.
Before their jaws had had their fill and gorged themselves on Theban blood, before Hephaestus' pine-torched flames had seized our towers, our fortresses crowned, he went back, driven in retreat.
Behind him rings the din of war, his enemy the Theban dragon snake, too difficult for him to overcome.
Zeus hates an arrogant, boasting tongue. Seen them march in a mighty stream in all their clanging golden pride.
He hurled his fire and struck the man up there on our battlement as he began to scream aloud his victory.
The man swings down, torch still in hand, and smashed into unyielding earth.
The one who not so long ago attacked, who launched his furious, enraged assault to blast us, breathing raging storms.
But things turned out not as he hoped. Great war god Ares assisted us. He smashed them down and doomed them all to a very different fate.
7 captains and 7 gates, matched against 7 equal warriors, paid Zeus their full bronze tribute. The god who turns the battle tide, all but that pair of wretched men.
Born one father and one mother too, they set their conquering spears against each other, and then both shared a very common death.
Now victory with her glorious name has come, bringing joy to well-armed Thebes. The battle's done. Let's strive now to forget with songs and dancing all night long, with Bacchus leading us to make Thebes shake.
But here comes
Creon, new king of our land,
son of Pinocchus.
thanks to the gods who brought about our new good fortune.
What
What plan of action does he have in mind?
What's made him hold this special meeting with us summoned by a general call?
Citizens, after much tossing of our ship of state, the gods have safely set things right again. Of all the people, I've summoned you, because I know how well you've shown respect for the eternal power of the throne. First with Laos, and again with Oedipus once he restored our city. When he died, you stood by his children, firm in loyalty. Now his sons have perished, killing each other in a single day with their own two hands, a double slaughter, stained with brothers' blood. And so, I have the throne, for I am the one most closely linked by blood to those who have been killed. It's impossible to really know a man, to know his soul, his mind and will, before one witnesses his skill in governing and making laws. For me, any man who rules the entire state and does not take the best advice there is, but through fear keeps his mouth forever shut, well, such a man is the very worst of men, and always will be. And a man who thinks more highly of a friend of his than of his state, he means nothing to me. Let Zeus know, the god who always watches everything. I'd not stand by if I saw disaster moving against the citizens, a threat to their security. For I know well that our city is like a ship which keeps us safe, and only when it sails its proper course do we make friends. These are the principles I'll use in order to protect our state. That's why I've announced my orders for the sons of Oedipus. Eteocles, who perished in the fight for our lands, the best and bravest of our spirit, will have his burial mound with the full funeral rites that accompany those most noblest corpses as they move below. But as for his brother, that Polynices, who returned from exile, eager to wipe out in an all-consuming flame his ancestral land, keen to seize upon his family's blood and lead men back into slavery. For him, it has been decreed that there will be no burial mound, no funeral rites, and no lament. He'll be left unburied, a clear reminder of his shameful fate. This is what I have decreed for the sons. For I'll not act to respect a man with honors in preference to a man who's acted well. No. Any man well disposed toward our state, alive or dead, that man I'll respect.
Son of Pinocchus,
If that's your will for this city's friends and enemies,
it seems to me you now control all laws concerning those who died.
And us as well, the ones who are still living.
See to it then, and act as a guardian for what's been proclaimed.
Give that task to younger men to deal with.
There are men assigned to oversee the corpse.
Then what remains that you would have us do?
Don't yield to those who contravene my orders.
No one is so cruel that he loves death.
Yes. That will be his full reward indeed. And yet, men have often been destroyed because they hope to profit in some way.
My lord, can't say I've come out of breath by running here, making my feet look fast. Many times I stop to think things over, and then I turn around and retrace my steps. My mind is saying many things to me. You fool, why go to where you know for sure your punishment awaits? And now, poor man, why are you hesitating yet again? If Creon finds us out from someone else, how will you escape being hurt? Such matters kept my mind preoccupied, and so I went slowly and reluctantly, and thus made a short road into a long one. But then the view that I should come to you went out. So if what I have to say is nothing, I'll say it nonetheless, for I've come here clinging to the hope that I'll not suffer anything that's not part of my destiny.
What's happening that's made you so upset?
I want to tell you first about myself. I didn't do it, and I didn't see the ones who did so. It would be unjust if I should come to grief.
You hedge so much. Clearly you have news of something ominous.
Yes, strange things that make me pause a lot.
Well, why not just say it? And then go. Just leave.
All right, I'll tell you. It's about the corpse. Someone has buried it and disappeared after undertaking all appropriate rites.
What do you say? What man would dare this?
I don't know. There's no sign of digging, no mark of any pickaxe or a mattock. The ground was dry and hardened, very smooth without a wheel track. Whoever did it left no trace. When the first man on day watch revealed it to us, we were all amazed. The corpse was hidden, not in the tomb. It was lightly covered up with dirt as if somebody wanted to avert a curse. There was no trace of wild animals or dogs who'd come to rip the corpse apart. And then the words flew around among us all, with every guard accusing someone else. We were about to fight, come to blows. No one was there who could have stopped to it. Every one of us was responsible, but none of us was clearly in the wrong. In our defense, we pleaded ignorance. We each stated we were quite prepared to pick up red-hot iron, walk through flames, or swear by all the gods that we had not done it. We had no idea how the act was planned or how it had been carried out. At last, when all our searching had proved useless, one man spoke up. His words forced us all to drop our faces to the ground in fear. We couldn't see things working out for us whether we agreed or disagreed with him. He said we must report this act to you. We must not hide it. And his view prevailed. I was the unlucky man who won the prize, the luck of the draw. That's why I'm now here. Not of my own free will or by your choice. I know that. For no one likes a messenger who comes bearing unwelcome news.
My lord, I have been wondering for some time now. Could this act not be something from the gods?
Stop now! Before what you're about to say enrages me completely and reveals you're not only ignorant, but stupid too. No one can tolerate what you just said. When you claim gods might care about this corpse, do you think they'd pay respect and preference to a man who acted well? Someone who came to torch their lands, their pillar temples, to scatter their laws? Or do you think gods would like to pay respect to evil men? No. No. For some time now, some people in the city have been muttering against me. They don't agree with what I've decreed. They shake their heads and have not kept their necks under my yoke, as they are duty-bound to do if they were men content with my rule. I know such men urge the guards to foster such evil actions, to do such acts for cash. Money trains and twists the mind to do evil deeds. It destroys homes, brings cities to ruins. Money teaches men to live as scoundrels, familiar with every profane enterprise. But men who carry out such acts for cash, sooner or later see how, for their crimes, they must pay the penalty. For if great Zeus still has my respect, then note this. If you don't bring the one who did this here before me, if you do not show him here before my very eyes, then death will never be enough for you. No, not till you're hung up, still alive, and you confess to these gross and violent acts. Perhaps then, in future times, you'll see how it isn't profitable to be in love with every monetary gain.
Do I have your permission to speak now, or do I just turn around and go away?
But I find your voice so irritating. Don't you realize that?
Where does it hurt? Is it in your ears or in your mind?
Why try to question where I feel my pain?
The man who did it, he upset your mind. I offend your ears.
My mind. It's clear to see it's natural for you to chatter on.
Perhaps, but I never did this.
This and more! You sold your life for silver.
Not strange and sad. when the one who sorts it out gets it all wrong.
Well, enjoy your sophisticated views. But know this. If you don't bring the one who did this here before me, you'll just confirm how much your treasonous gains have made you suffer.
Well, I hope he's found. That would be best. But whether caught or not, and that's something sheer chance will bring about. You won't see me coming here again. This time, against all hope and expectation, I'm still unhurt. I owe the gods great thanks.
There are many strange and wonderful things, but nothing more strangely wonderful than man. He moves across the white-capped ocean seas, blasted by winter storms, carving his way under the surging waves engulfing him.
With his teams of horses, he wears down the unwearied and immortal earth.
The oldest of gods, harassing her.
As year by year his plows move back and forth,
He snares the light-winged flocks of birds, herds of wild beasts, creatures from deep seas, trapped in the fine mesh of his hunting nets. O resourceful man.
Whose skill can overcome ferocious beasts, roaming mountain heights.
He curbs the rough-haired horse with his bit, and tames the inexhaustible mountain bulls.
Setting their savage necks beneath his yoke.
He's taught himself speech, and with swift thought, trained his feelings for communal civic life, learning to escape the icy shafts of frost, volleys of pelting rain and winter storms, the harsh life lived under the open sky. That's man.
So resourceful in all he does, there's no event his skill cannot confront.
Other than death.
That alone he cannot shun.
Although for many baffling sicknesses, he has discovered his own remedies.
The qualities of his inventive skills bring arts beyond his dreams and lead him on, sometimes to evil, and sometimes to good. If he treats his country's laws with due respect and honors justice by swearing on the gods, he wins high honors in his city. But when he grows bold and turns to evil, then he has no city. A man like that, let him not share my home or know my mind.
What's this? Here's some omen from the gods.
I can't deny what I see here so clearly. That young girl there, it's Antigone.
You poor girl. Daughter of Oedipus. Child of such a father. So unfortunate. What's going on?
Surely they've not brought you here because you've disobeyed the royal laws, because they've caught you acting foolishly.
Here's the one who carried out the act. We caught her honoring the grave. Where is Creon?
He's coming from the palace. And just in time.
What's happening? Why have I come just in time?
My lord, human beings should never take an oath that there's something they'll not do. Your later thoughts contradict what they first mean. Back then, I'd have sworn I'd not soon come here again. The threats you made brought me a lot of grief. There's no joy as great as what we pray for against all hope. So I have returned, bringing this girl, captured while she was honoring the grave. This time, we did not draw lots. No. This time, I was the lucky man, not someone else. And now, my lord, take her for questioning. Convict her. Do as you wish. As for me, by rights, I'm free and clear of all this trouble.
This girl here. How did you catch her? And where?
She was burying that man. Now you know all there is to know.
Do you understand just what you're saying? Are your words the truth?
We caught this girl giving that dead man's corpse full burial rights, an act you made illegal. Is what I say simple and clear enough?
How did you see her? Catch her in the act?
It happened this way. When we got there, after hearing all those awful threats from you, we swept the dust off the corpse so the damp body was completely bare. And then we sat on rising ground, upwind, to escape the body's putrid, rotting stench. We traded insults with one another to stay awake, in case someone was careless on the job. That's how we spent the time right up till noon. When the sun's bright circle had moved halfway through the sky, it was burning hot. Then suddenly, a swirling windstorm came, whipping clouds of dust up from the ground, filling the plain, some heaven-sent trouble. Not the whole place. The forest growth was damaged, and the air around was filled with dust for miles. We shut our mouths and just endured this scourge sent from the gods. A long time passed. The storm finally came to an end. That's when we saw the girl. She was shrieking, a distressing, painful cry, just like a bird who's seen an empty nest, its fledglings gone. That's how she was when she saw the corpse. She screamed out lament, started calling evil curses down upon the ones who had done this. Right away, her hands threw on the thirsty dust. And then she lifted up a finely made bronze jug, and then 3 times poured out her tributes to the dead. When we saw that, we rushed up right away and grabbed her. She was not afraid at all. We charged her with the previous offense as well as this one. She just kept standing there, denying nothing. That made me happy, though it was painful too. For it's a joy to escape troubles which affect oneself, but painful to bring evil on one's friends. But all of that is of less concern to me than my own safety.
You there, with your face bent towards the ground. What do you say? Do you deny you did this, or admit it?
I admit I did it. I won't deny that.
You're dismissed. Go where you want. No serious charges made against you. Tell me briefly, not in some lengthy speech. Were you aware there was a proclamation forbidding what you did?
I'd heard of it. How could I not? It was public knowledge.
And yet you dared break those very laws.
Yes. Because Zeus did not announce those laws to me. And justice living with the gods below set no such laws for men. So I did not think anything which you decreed strong enough to let a mortal override the gods and their unwritten and unchanging laws. They're not just for today or yesterday, but exist forever, and no one knows where they first appeared. So I did not mean to let the fear of any human will lead to my punishment among the gods. I know all too well I'm going to die. How could I not? It makes no difference what you decree. And if I have to die before I have a chance to live, well then I count that a gain. When someone has to live the way I do, surrounded by so many evil things, how can she fail to find a benefit in death? And so for me, meeting this fate won't bring any pain. But if I allowed my own mother's dead son to just lie there, an unburied corpse, then I would feel distress. What's going on here does not hurt me at all. And if you think what I'm doing now is foolish, perhaps I'm being charged with foolishness by someone who is a fool.
It's clear enough. The spirit in this girl is passionate.
Your father was the same.
She has no sense of compromise in times of trouble.
But you should know the most obdurate wills are those most prone to break. The strongest iron, tempered in fire to make it really hard. That's the kind you see most often shatter. I'm well aware the most tempestuous horse is those tamed by one small bit. Pride has no place in anyone who's his neighbor's slave. This girl was already very insolent. After contravening our laws, she now boasts of it. Well, if she gets away, then she's the man here, not I. No, even if she is my sister's child, closer to me by blood than anyone who's in my house, who worships Zeus in my home. But even then, she won't escape my harshest punishment. Her sister, too, whom I accuse as well. Go bring her out. I saw her now, just inside the palace, her mind in some kind of fit. After people commit such treacherous acts in the dark, their minds often convict them in advance. How I despise someone who, after being caught doing such horrible acts, then desire to glorify the crime.
Take me and kill me. What more do you want?
Me? Nothing. With that, I have everything.
Then why delay? There's nothing in your words that I enjoy, and may that always be the case. And what I say displeases you as much. But where could I gain greater glory than setting my own brother in his grave? All those here would confirm this pleases them as well if their lips weren't sealed by fear. Being king, which offers all sorts of various benefits, means you can talk and act just as you wish.
In all of Thebes, you're the only one who thinks that way.
Oh no, they agree with me. But they keep their mouths shut just for you.
These views of yours, so different from the rest. Don't they bring you any sense of shame?
No, there's nothing shameful in honoring my mother's children.
You had a brother killed fighting for the other side.
Yes, from the same mother and the same father too.
Why then give tribute which insult his name?
But his dead corpse won't back up what you say.
Yes, he will, if you give equal honors to a wicked man.
But the other man was not some slave. It was his own brother.
Who was destroying this country. The other went to his death defending it.
That may be. But Hades still desires equal rights for both.
A good man will never wish what we give to him to be the same as what an evil man receives.
Who knows? In the world below, perhaps such actions are no crime.
An enemy can never be a friend, not even in death.
But my nature is to love. I cannot hate.
Then go down to the dead. If you must love, love them. No woman's going to govern me. No. No, not while I'm still alive.
Ismene's coming.
There, right by the door.
She's crying. Oh, she must love her sister.
From her forehead, a cloud casts its shadow down her darkly flushing face.
And drops its rain onto her lovely cheek.
You then. You snake lurking in my house. Sucking out my life's blood so secretly. I had no idea I was nurturing two pests in my household who aimed to rise against my throne. Come here. Do you admit you played your part in this burial? Or will you swear an oath you had no knowledge of it?
I didn't. I admit it. And she'll back me up so I bear the guilt.
No! No! Justice will not allow you to say that. You didn't want to. I didn't work with you.
But I'm ashamed I was suffering with you as your companion.
Hades and the dead can say who did it. I don't love a friend whose love is only words.
You're my sister. Let me respect the dead and die with you.
Don't try to share my death. Or make a claim to actions which you did not do. I will die and that will be enough.
But if you're gone, what is there in life for me to love?
Ask Creon. He's the one you care about.
Why hurt me like this? It doesn't help you.
If I am mocking you, it pains me too.
Even now, is there some way I can help?
Save yourself. I won't envy your escape.
I feel so wretched leaving you to die.
You chose life. It was my choice to die.
But not until I'd said those words just now.
Some people may approve of how you think, and others will believe that my judgment is good.
The mistake's the same for both of us.
I'd say one of these girls has just revealed how mad she is. The other's been that way since she was born.
My lord, whatever good sense people have by birth no longer stays with them once their lives go wrong. It abandons them.
In your case, that's true. Once you decided to act in evil ways with wicked people.
How can I live without her here?
Don't speak of her being here. Her life is over.
You're going to take your son's future bride?
Why not? There are other fields for him to plow.
Dearest Haemon, how your father wronged you!
I've had enough of this. This childish talk of marriage.
So that's it. You're going to take her from him?
No, not me. Hades is the one who will end this marriage.
So she must die. That seems decided on.
Yes. For you and me, the matter's closed. No more delay. Take them inside. From this point on, they must act like women and have no liberty to wander off. Even bold men run when they see Hades coming close to snatch away their lives.
But then he lives only the briefest time free of catastrophe.
Here comes Haemon.
Your only living son.
Is he grieving the fate of Antigone?
His bride, bitter that his marriage hopes are gone.
We'll find out. More accurately than any prophet here could indicate. My son, have you heard the sentence that has been passed upon your bride? And have you come here now angry at your father? Or are you loyal, on my side, no matter what I decree?
Father, I'm yours. For me, your judgments and the ways you act on them are good. I shall follow them. I'll not consider any marriage greater benefit than your fine leadership.
Indeed, my son. That's how your heart should always be resolved. to stand behind your father's judgment on every issue, no matter what the case. That's what men pray for. Obedient children growing up at home, who will pay back their father's enemies, evil to them for evil done to him, while honoring his friends as much as he does. A man who fathers worthless children, what can one say of him, except he's bred troubles for himself, and much to laugh at for those who are against him. So, my son, don't ever throw good sense aside for pleasure, for some woman's sake. After all, you understand how such embraces can turn freezing cold when you share your home with an evil woman. What greater wound is there than a false friend? So spit this girl out. She's your enemy. Since I caught her, clearly disobeyed, the only culprit in the entire city, I'll not perjure myself before the entire state. No. I'll kill her. And so, let her appeal to Zeus, the god of blood relationships. If I foster any lack of full respect within my own household, I surely do the same for those who are not linked to me by blood. No. Respect is key to keeping a government together. Obedience is key. The obedient man, I'd trust such a man to govern wisely, or to be content with someone else ruling over him. And in the thick of battle, he'll stand at his secret post, a firm and loyal soldier. But anyone who tells their king what to do, or disrespects him in any way, well, such a man earns no honor from me, no respect from me. No. If we must fall from power, let it at least come from some man's hand. At least we won't be called inferior to any woman.
Unless we're being deceived, what you just said seems reasonable to us.
Father, the gods instill good sense in men, greatest of all things which we possess. I couldn't find the word somehow not right. I hope that's something I'll never learn to do. But other words might be good as well. Because of who you are, you can't perceive all the things men say or do, or their complaints. Your gaze makes the citizens afraid. They can't say anything you would not like them to hear. But in the darkness, I can hear them talk. The city is upset about the girl. They say of all women here, she least deserves the worst of deaths for a most glorious actor. When in slaughter, her own brother died, she did not leave him there unburied, to be ripped apart by carrion dogs and birds. Surely she deserves to hold honor. That is the dark secret rumor people speak. For me, Father, nothing is more valuable than your well-being. For any son, what is a greater honor than their father's right and reputation? A father feels the same about his sons. So don't let your mind dwell on just what one thought, though what you say is right and nothing else. A man who thinks that only he is wise, that he can speak and think like no one else, when such men are exposed, then all can see their emptiness inside. For any man, even if he's wise, there's nothing shameful in learning many things, staying flexible. You notice how in winter floods, trees which bend before the storm preserve their twigs? The ones who stand against it are destroyed, root and branch. In the same way, the sailors who keep their sails stretched tight, never easing off, make their ships capsize, and from that point on, rows their benches all submerged. So end your anger. Permit yourself to change. For if I, as a younger man, may state my views, I say it'd be best if men by nature understood all things. If not, and that usually is the case, when men speak well, it's good to learn from them.
My lord.
If what he said is relevant,
it seems appropriate to learn from him.
And you too, Haemon. Listen to the king.
The things that you have both said were excellent.
And men my age. Are we then going to school to learn what's wise from men as young as him?
There's nothing wrong in that. And if I'm young, don't think about my age. Look at what I do.
And what you do. Does that include this? Honoring those who act against our laws?
I would not encourage anybody to show respect to evil men.
And her! Is she not suffering from the same disease?
The people here in Thebes all say the same. They deny she is.
So now it's the people who will instruct me on how I should govern.
Now you're talking like someone far too young. Don't you see that?
Am I to rule at someone else's whim? Or by myself?
City which belongs to just one man is no true city.
According to our laws, does not the ruler own the city?
Or yourself to make an excellent king when in the desert.
It seems as if he's fighting for the woman's side.
That's true if you're the woman. I'm concerned for you, father.
You foul creature. You're worse than any woman.
No, not when I see you making a mistake and being unjust.
Is it unjust to honor my own rule?
You're not honoring that by trampling on the god's prerogatives.
You woman slave. Don't try to win me over.
What do you want? To speak and never hear someone reply?
You'll never marry her. Not while she's alive.
Then she'll die, and then her death kills someone else.
Are you so insolent as to threaten me?
Where's the threat in challenging a bad decree?
You'll regret parading your ideas around like this. You unschooled child.
You're not my father. You might say you're not thinking straight.
Would you? Well then, by Olympus I'll have you know, you'll be sorry for demeaning me with all these insults. Go bring her out, that foul creature, so she may die, right here, before her very bridegroom's eyes.
No, don't ever hope for that. She'll not die with me just standing here. And as for you, your eyes will never see my face again. So let your rage charge among your friends that stand by you on this.
My lord, came to let us some fury.
He's angry.
And a young man at his age, the mind turns bitter when he's feeling hurt.
Let him dream up or carry out great deeds beyond the power of man. He'll not save those girls. Their fate is sealed.
Are you going to kill them both?
No. Not the one whose hands are clean. You're right.
How do you plan to kill Antigone?
I'll take her on a path not commonly used by the people, and leave her in a cave, with as much food as piety requires, and still alive. Then we'll leave her there, alone. Then she can pray to Hades, the only god she worships, for success against death. Or else, she'll learn, although too late, how it's a waste of time to honor those whom Hades holds.
When I look at her, I forget my place.
Gorgia. She went to an excruciating death right on the mountain peak in Sophocles. The stone there, just like clinging ivy, wore her down. And now, so people say, the snow and rain never leave her there as she laments. Beneath her weeping eyes, her neck is wet with tears. The gods bring me to a final rest which most resembles hers.
But Niobe was a goddess, born divine.
And we are human beings, a race which dies.
But still, it's a fine thing for a woman
Once she's dead.
to have it said she shared in life and death the fate of demigods.
You are mocking me! Why me by our father's gods? Why do all my own city and the richest men in Thebes insult me now, right to my face, without waiting for my death? Well, at least I have Dirce's springs, the holy grounds of Thebes, a city full of splendid chariots to witness how no friends lament for me as I move on. You see the laws which lead me to my rock-bound prison, a tomb made just for me. Alas, in my wretchedness I have no home, not with human beings or corpses, not with the living or the dead.
You pushed your daring to the limit, my child.
And tripped against justice's high altar. Perhaps your agonies are paying back some compensation for your father.
Now there you touch on my most painful thought. My father's destiny, always on my mind, along with that whole fate which sticks to us, the splendid house of Labdacus, and the curse arising from a mother's marriage bed when she slept with her own son, my father. From what kind of parents was I born, their wretched daughter? I go to them now, unmarried and accursed, an outcast. Alas, too, for my brother Polynices, who made a fatal marriage and then died. And with that death killed me while still alive.
To be piously devout shows reverence.
But to powerful men, who in their persons and corporate authority cannot bear anyone to break their rules, hence
You die because of your own selfish will.
Don't you know that no one would stop the singing or the groans, if that would help? Go take her and shut her up in her tomb's embrace as I have ordered. Then leave her there, alone, all by herself. As far as she's concerned, we bear no guilt leaving her there, but she's lost her place living here among us.
Oh, my tomb and bridal chamber, my eternal hollow dwelling place where I go to join my people. Most of them have perished, and Persephone has welcomed them among the dead. But I'm the last one, dying here the most evil death by far before the time allotted for my life is done. But I go nourishing the vital hope that my father will be pleased to see me come, and you too, my mother, will welcome me, as well as you, my own dear brother. When you died, with my own hands I washed you, and at the grave mound poured out libations. But now, Polynices, this is my reward for covering your corpse. However, for wise people, I was right to honor you. I'd never have done it for children of my not as their mother, nor for a dead husband lying in decay. No, not in defiance of the citizens. So what law do I appeal to claiming this? If my husband died, there would be another one. And if I were to lose a child of mine, I'd have another with some other man. But since my father and my mother too are hidden away in Hades' house, I'll never have another living brother. That was the law I used to honor you. But Creon thought I was in the wrong and acting recklessly for you, my brother, so he seizes me by force and leads me here, no wedding and no bridal song, no share in married life or raising children. Instead, I go in sorrow to my grave, without any friends, to die while still alive. What holy justice have I violated? In my wretchedness, why should I still look up to the gods? Which one can I invoke to bring me help when for my reverence they charge me with impiety? Well then, if this is something fine among the gods, I'll come to recognize that I've done wrong. But if these people here are being unjust, may they endure no greater punishment than the injustices they're doing to me.
The same storm blasting to me to attack to mine an interim girl.
Then those escorting her will be sorry they're so slow.
Alas, then those words mean death is very near at hand.
I'll not encourage you or cheer you on by saying the sentence will be carried out.
Look on me, you lords of Thebes, the last survivor of your royal house. See what I have to undergo. The kind of men who do this to me, for paying reverence to the truth which should be honored.
Serving the both of us. The blind require a guide to find their way.
What news do you bring, old Tiresias?
I'll tell you, and you obey the prophet.
I've not rejected your advice before.
That's the reason why you steered the city on its proper course.
From my experience, I can confirm the help you give.
Then know this. Your luck is once more on fate's razor edge.
What? What you're saying makes me nervous.
You'll know once you hear the tokens of my art. As I was sitting in my ancient place, receiving omens from the flights of birds, who all come there where I can hear them, I note among those birds an unknown cry, evil, unintelligible, angry, screaming. I knew that they were tearing at each other with murderous claws. The noisy wings revealed that all too well. I was afraid, so right away up on the blazing altar I set up burnt offerings. But Hephaestus failed to shine out from that sacrifice. Dark slime poured out onto the embers, oozing from the thighs which smoked high up into the air, and the melting thighs lost all the fat which they'd been wrapped in. The rites had failed. There was no prophecy revealed to them. I learned that from this girl who is my guide, as I guide other men. Our state is sick. Your policies have done this. In this city, our altars and our hearths have been defiled, all of them, with rotting flesh brought there by birds and dogs from Oedipus' son, who lies there miserably dead. The gods will no longer accept our sacrifice, our prayers, our thigh bones burned in fire. No bird will shriek out a clear sign to us, for they have gorged themselves on the fat and blood from a man who's dead. Consider this, my son. All men make mistakes. That's not uncommon. But when they do, they're no longer foolish or subject to bad luck if they try to fix the evil into which they've fallen, once they've given up their sin. Men who put their stubbornness on show invite accusations of stupidity. Make concessions to the dead. Don't ever stab a man who's just been killed. What's the glory in killing a dead person one more time? I've been concerned for you. It's good advice. Learning can be pleasant when a man speaks well, especially when he seeks your benefit.
Old woman. You're all like archers shooting at me. For you all, I've now become your target. Even prophets have been aiming at me. I've long been bought and sold as merchandise among that tribe. Well, if that's what you wish, then go make your profits. Go trade with Sardis for their gold-silver alloy, or for gold from India. You'll not hide that corpse in any grave. No, not even if Zeus's eagle should choose to seize up his festering body and carry it up to the throne of Zeus. Not even then, in trembling fear of some defilement, would I permit that corpse a grave. No, I know that no man has the power to defile the gods. But old Tiresias, as far as the wisest go, they suffer the most disgraceful fall. When to promote themselves, they use fine words to spread around abusive insults.
Alas, does any man know or think about it?
Think what? What sort of pithy comment are you about to utter?
How good advice is valuable, worth more than all possessions.
I think that's true. As much as foolishness is what harms us most.
If that's the sickness now infecting you.
I have no desire to denigrate a prophet when I speak.
But that's what you're doing when you claim my oracles are false.
The tribe of prophets, all of them are fond of money.
And kings? Their tribe loves to benefit dishonestly.
You know you're speaking of the man who rules you.
I know. Thanks to me, you've saved the city and now are in control.
You're a wise prophet, but you love doing wrong.
You'll force me to speak of secrets locked inside my heart.
Do it. Just don't speak to benefit yourself.
I won't be doing that, not as far as you're concerned.
Well, you can be sure you won't change my mind to make yourself more rich.
Then understand this well. You will not see the sun race through its cycle many times before you lose a child of your own loins. The corpse in payment for these corpses. You've thrown down to those below someone from up above. In your arrogance, you moved a living soul into a grave, leaving here a body owned by gods below, unburied, dispossessed, unsanctified. That's no concern of yours or God's above. In this, you violate the ones below. And so, destroying adventures wait for you. Furies of gods and Hades will see you caught up in this very wickedness. Now see if I speak as someone who's been bribed. It won't be long before in your own house, all men and women all cry out in sorrow, and all the cities rise in hate against you. All those whose mangled soldiers have had burial rites from birds, wild animals, and dogs who bring home the unholy stench back home to every city heart. Like an archer, I shoot these arrows now into your heart, because you have provoked me. I'm angry, so my aim is good. You'll not escape their pain. Girl, lead us home, so he can vent his rage on younger men, and keep a quieter tongue, and a more temperate mind than he has now.
Haemon has been killed. No stranger shed his blood.
At his father's hand.
Or did he kill himself?
By his own hand, angering his father for murder.
Tiresias, how your words have proven true.
That's how things stand. Consider what comes next.
I see Creon's wife.
Or Eurydice.
She's coming from the altar, either by chance, or else she's heard there's news about her son.
Citizens of Thebes, I heard you talking as I was walking out, going off to pray, to ask for help from goddess Pallas Athena. While I was unfastening the gate, I heard someone speaking of bad news about my family. I was terrified. I collapsed, fainting back into the arms of my attendants. tell the news again. I'll listen. I'm no stranger to misfortune.
Dear lady, I'll speak of what I saw and name not one detail of the truth. Why should I use your mind with the report, which turns to be later incorrect? No, the truth is always best. I went to the plain, accompanying her husband in sky. Polynices' corpse, though lamented, was lying there, graced as he saw, torn apart by dogs. Repaired to Pluto and to Hecate, goddess of the road, for their goodwill and to restrain their rage. We gave the corpse a ritual wash and burned what was left of it on fresh-cut branches. We padded it high to its native earth. Then we moved to the young girl's rocky cave, the hollow cavern of that bright tent. From far off, one man heard a voice coming from the chamber where a quiver without a funeral. A piercing cry. He went to tell her master Creon, who, as he approached the place, heard this an unintelligible scream of sorrow. He groaned and spoke out these bitter words. Has misery made me a prophet now? Am I traveling along the road to the worst of all disasters? I should hear the voice of my own son. You there, go ahead and remove the stones from in front of the tomb and look inside and see if that was Haemon's voice I heard, or if the gods were deceiving me. Following what our desperate master asked, we looked. In the furthest corner of the tomb, we saw Antigone hanging by the neck in a noose confined with linen. Haemon had his arms around her waist and was embracing her, crying out the sorrow of the loss of his bride now among the dead, his father's work, for his horrifying marriage bed. Creon looked in and saw the boy. Groaned and called out anxiously. You unhappy boy, what have you done? What are you thinking? Have you lost your mind? Come out, my boy, I'm begging you. Come out. But the boy just stared at him with savage eyes, spat in his face, and drew his two-edged sword. Creon moved away, so the boys both failed to strike his father. And Creon himself, the ill-fated lad, right then and there, leaned into his own sword, punching half the blade between his ribs. While still conscious, he embraced the girl in his weak arms, and coughed up streams of blood on her fair cheek. Now he lies there, corpse on corpse. His marriage has been fulfilled in the chambers of the dead. The unhappy boy shows all men how, of all the evils which afflict mankind, the most disastrous one is thoughtlessness.
What do you make of that?
The queen. She's gone back.
She left without a word.
Good or bad?
I'm surprised myself. She heard that terrible report. It was about her son. I hope she's gone inside because she thinks it not right to mourn for him in public. In the home, surrounded by her servants, she set up a period of mourning for the house. She's discreet and has experience. She won't make mistakes.
I'm not sure of that. To me, her silence was extreme.
It seems to point to something ominous.
Just like a vain excess of grief.
I'll go in. I'll see if she's hiding something secret deep within her passionate heart. You're right. Excessive silence can be dangerous.
Here comes the king.
Hurrying with him. If it's right to speak of this, a clear reminder that this evil comes from no stranger, but of his own mistakes.
Brought on by a foolish mind. Cruel mistakes that bring on death. Here you see us, all in one family. Killer of the killed. young, a death before your time. Not of your own foolishness, mine.
Alas,
It
seems you've learned to see what's right.
but far too late.
I've learned it in my pain. Some god clutching a great weight struck my head and threw me onto the path of the wilderness. Rolling down and casting underfoot what brought me joy. So sad the wretched agony of life.
My lord, you come like one who stores with evils, what you hold in your arms and what you'll soon find inside the house.
What could possibly be more evil than all of this?
Your wife is dead. Blood mother of that corpse. Her wounds are very new, poor lady.
Gathering place for death. No sacrifice can bring this to an end. Why are you destroying me? You there, you bringer of this tragic news, this horrible news, this agony. What do you say? I've just held my own son in my arms, and now, my wife, alas, she's dead.
Look here, no longer is she concealed inside.
Alas for the suffering mother. Alas, my son.
Stabbed with the sharp sword at the altar. She let her darkening eyesight fail when she cried out in sorrow for the glorious fate of Megros, who died some time ago, and then for Haemon. And then with her last breath, she called out evil things on you, the killer of her sons.
I feared. I trembled. Why doesn't someone strike out at me now? Pierce my heart with a double-bladed sword. How full of misery and pain I am.
By this woman who lies dead, you stand charged with the deaths of both your sons.
How did she die?
She killed herself. She stabbed herself in the belly when she heard her son's unhappy fate.
I did this to you. The guilt can't be removed from me or passed on to any other mortal man. I and I alone did this. Servants, lead me away from here. For now, what I am in life is nothing.
What which binds is good.
If
Good can come with all these evils.
If
When
we
we
think
think
such
such
things,
things,
the less we say, the better.
Oh, let it come. Let that day come, the most glorious of destinies for me. Let it come so that I never see another dawn.
That's something for the times ahead.
Now we need to deal with what confronts us here.
What's yet to come is the concern of those whose task it is to deal with it.
In that prayer, I included everything I most desire.
Pray for nothing.
No release for mortal human beings.
Not from events which destiny has set.
Hurry and lead me away from here. I killed you, my son. Everything I touch goes wrong. And on my head, fate lies with its overwhelming load.
The most important part of true success is wisdom.
Not to act impiously against the gods.
For boasts of arrogant men bring on great blows of punishment.
So in old age, men can discover
Wisdom.